G'day and kia ora. Welcome to TikTok Academy Live, an industry-wide education platform where we'll cover off topics to help you build successful campaigns on TikTok. Before we get into it, I wanted to first acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land in which we gather today. We're dialing in from the city of Sydney, which is Gadigal land of the Eora Nation, and I'd like to pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I'd also like to extend that respect to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander peoples that are dialing in today. My name's Smaz, and I'm the creative agency partner at TikTok AUNZ. Also presenting with me today is Gemma Houston, who's one of our creative strategists. Hi Gemma, how are you?
I'm good. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. It's my favorite thing to do is talk about creativity on TikTok.
I'm looking forward to it. Today we're here to talk about impactful creativity. After talking to so many clients and agencies over the past year, I know you're all excited by the opportunity for your brands on TikTok. Some of you are early adopters, some are just getting started. No matter where you are on your TikTok journey, today is all about sharing some practical tips and creative inspiration to help you tackle your next brief. I'll start by addressing some common misconceptions that I've heard in market. Then, Gemma is going to take you through her tips on how you can concept ideas for TikTok and share some best-in-class campaigns to really inspire you and show you what's possible. We'll then be joined by Gavin Chimes and Katie Holton from Howitson & Company, the team behind Moddy Body's I'm Dying Inside campaign. They'll talk us through how the idea was brought to life and share their learnings to help you craft your own impactful campaigns. So let's dive in and tackle some of the common misconceptions about TikTok. By addressing these, it may help reframe the role of TikTok as you start working on your campaigns. The first one is that TikTok is just another social media platform, another line in your media plan. Now, we don't position ourselves as a social app because the primary role that we play in people's life isn't social, it's entertainment. No one really logs onto TikTok to chat with their family and friends. That's what the messaging apps are for. The reason people come to TikTok every day is to discover really entertaining content that's tailored to their interest. That's the power of our For You feed. Now, we're often guilty of it ourselves, as we do like to compare ourselves to the platforms that you see on screen right now. But when you think about it, we're totally different, both in experience and also the way that we're built. You don't check TikTok, you watch TikTok. Our algorithm, or as we like to call it, our recommendations engine, is built on what we call an interest graph. It serves you content based on what you're interested in. The other guys, their algorithm is built around what we call a social graph. It's going to serve you content based on who you like, who you follow, who your family and friends are. Our DNA is built on authenticity, and that's because when we first started, you weren't necessarily sharing your stories with your family and friends. You're sharing with your online community, which means that you're more likely to be open and honest. And this unique characteristic still shines through today. Now imagine this, you're at home right now, you're on the couch, you're watching TV. You pull out your phone and you start scrolling through TikTok. We've all done it, you're dual screening. But it never works in reverse, does it? You don't watch TV and aimlessly scroll through TikTok. What that means is that when you're on TikTok, we have your undivided attention. We're also fully skippable, so it places even greater importance on the type of advertising content that you put out. We all know that TikTok is redefining culture, but rather than me talk about it, I wanted to play a TikTok for a creator describing what TikTok is through the lens of a house party.
You know why TikTok is successful? Because it's the best party ever. It's like what you wanted parties to be every time you went to them. You walk in and at first there's just like a bunch of straight people dancing. You're like, okay, whatever. But you go in the kitchen and people are cooking and like, that's really cool. People who are cooking are talking about like random shit, like socialism and Disney movies and religious trauma. You go outside and there's a bunch of people like sitting around a fire pit that's not really supposed to be a fire pit, taking turns telling the story of what's the worst boss you've ever had. Like, that's fun, but you have to pee, so you go inside. You stick your head in one bathroom and there's just people in there yelling about politics. You go find another bathroom and somebody's in there just like helping somebody else shave their head because that seems like a good idea right now. Go upstairs, there's people on the stairs like scream singing an opera version of Dolly Parton and it's really fucking good. Somebody's doing yoga, somebody's doing magic. There's one room of people just sitting cross-legged on the floor talking about the philosophy of vampire movies. Somebody else is just like painting, going, and you hear like snippets of conversation. Bullshit though, like you're racist. And then you find a way to get on the roof and there's people just on the roof reading poetry.
TikTok is the world's favorite community entertainment platform. It's where billions of people are coming every day to watch, share, and discover highly relevant content. I love my sports, so if you scroll through my feed, you're going to see a lot of football, Formula One, UFC. You might be into books or movies or fashion or food, and that's what you're going to get. As marketers, you should put yourself in your audience's shoes, and your audience is on TikTok. There's also a high chance that they're talking about your brands. So as a bit of homework, I encourage you to go on TikTok after this session and search your brands, search your competitors, and search your category. There could be millions of conversations already happening, so it's really up to you to not only join those conversations, but also help steer it. The second misconception I want to challenge is that we're a singing and dancing app for teens. Now, one of the reasons for this is before we were TikTok, we were Musical.ly, a really popular lip-syncing app that a lot of teens use. Now, yes, there are dancing teenagers, but I'm also glad that I haven't received a dance brief in over 2 years. And as discussed earlier, if you're into music and dance, our recommendations engine is going to serve you that content. Whilst we're proud of our heritage, we've well and truly aged up, and that's really evidenced by the company we keep. Pretty much every category from FinServ to auto, to CPG to travel, government to health, they're all advertising on TikTok, so you can rest assured that you're in safe company. And that's really because in Australia we have over 10 million monthly active users, and these users are highly engaged. They're watching a feature-length movie worth of content every day on TikTok. And this spans from everything from food talk to beauty talk to clean talk. You can pretty much add talk to any word and you'll find an existing community. In fact, sometimes the seemingly niche communities have mass scale. For example, who would have thought that Witch Talk has over 32 billion views? That's a lot of Covens or Harry Potter fans out there. And if you're interested in early 2000s fashion, you're in luck, as it's definitely making a comeback. Y2K has over 33.5 billion views. And looking a bit more broadly, TikTok's also full of nature lovers. Hashtag Nature has a massive 114.5 billion views. All of these provide an entry point into culture. And that's because we have over 1 billion monthly active users globally. As I've said before, there really is something for everyone on TikTok. The final misconception I'd like to address is that it's hard to be creative on TikTok. And I get it. When a new platform launches, it can take some time to understand it. Now, prior to working at TikTok, I was creative agency side, so I do empathize with you. But what I can assure you is that the same creative principles still apply. You still need to work off an insight and land that killer idea. And if you haven't already, please make sure you check out our Recut, Remix and Reimagine framework, which we'll link through in our Leave Behind. If anything, TikTok is a creatively fertile playground, and Gemma is going to take you through some tips on how to start concepting for TikTok. To prove this point, I wanted to share one of my favorite campaigns from TikTok. This one's for Goldfish from the US. Goldfish is a school lunchbox snack, kind of like Arnott Shapes. I love this campaign because not only is it an amazing idea with TikTok at the heart of it, but it solved a real business problem. If you cast your mind back a couple of years when the pandemic hit and school shut, Goldfish sales took a nosedive, so they really need to appeal to new audiences. Working with the TikTok team, they produced the Go for the Handful campaign. I'll play the case study now, which will better explain the idea.
Goldfish. It's a kiddie snack. But how do you get adults to consider goldfish for snacking occasions? Simple. You put goldfish in their hands. Lots of them. So we looked for the adult who could hold the most goldfish. Turns out, he's an NBA player named Boban Marjanovic, who even has a Reddit thread dedicated to him holding things. So we asked Boban to hold as many goldfish as he possibly could. And then we invited everyone on TikTok to beat Boban.
Nobody beats Boban. 1, 10, 20, too easy. 60, no stress for Boban. 90, 100, 200. Getting nervous? I want to see you guys try. 301.
And the reaction on TikTok got out of hand. People made a counter, people tried to outsmart it. Team mascots and even other NBA players got involved. Then we used broadcasts to fuel the challenge.
Impressive handful you got there. How many you think you got?
Let me count real quick. 1 goldfish, 2 goldfish, 77 goldfish, 78 goldfish, 81, 82, 259, 261, 320 goldfish.
No cringeworthy overacting like we see with a lot of athletes and brands. And the challenge leads to immediate engagement on TikTok.
By putting them back into the hands of adults, we reminded everyone of the joy of eating goldfish.
Amazing work. Now their stats are a bit out of date, and when I last looked, the hashtag had over 14 billion views. Anyone who's worked on a UGC campaign knows how hard it is to get 100 people to do something. They got nearly 2 million. Now granted, the US is a larger market and they had media spend to push the challenge, but it really boils down to the simplicity of the ask. How many can you hold in your hands? They weren't asking people to go do cartwheels down the street. The barrier to entry was low and it was fun to do, so people went to store to buy the product. You would have noticed the hashtag, Go for the Handful. That was a campaign line that's now been adopted as the brand's tagline. They also picked up a bronze line at Cannes, and they were back with Boban last year. First, he jumped on that tiny plastic hands trend, which you might have seen. Boban had tiny plastic hands and was trying to carry a large goldfish. Then, they created a 3D printed hand bowl at Boban's hand, which holds exactly 301 goldfish. An idea that was started on TikTok has gone on to change the trajectory of the brand, and I can't wait to see what they do next. Hopefully I've convinced you that TikTok isn't just another social media app. We're an entertainment platform which tailors content based on your interests, giving you more of what you want. We're not just for teens, we cater for all audiences. And given our scale, there really is something for everyone, even witches and warlocks. And TikTok works. Brands have the opportunity to engage new audiences and drive business performance and cultural impact. Thanks for joining us today, and feel free to reach out to me with any questions. I'll now pass on to Gemma, who's going to take you through her tips on how to create for TikTok, as well as share some amazing case studies. Gemma, over to you.
Awesome, thanks Maz. Let's dive in. Our role is specifically to work with creative agencies and creative teams to help you see how your ideas best work on this platform. So I've just celebrated my 2-year anniversary at TikTok, but I still remember feeling a bit apprehensive about applying for the role. It was a slight departure from my previous experience as a senior art director, creative agency side. However, my curiosity of this new platform really led me to take the plunge. And what I've learned over the past 2 years is that TikTok is an incredibly unique platform. It doesn't look like any other media format that I used to create ads for when I was creative agency side. And while I am quite biased and I love the app, originally I was slightly scared of what good ads on TikTok would look like because I just simply didn't know. But what I know now is that TikTok rewards creativity. The FYP, or the For You page, rewards ideas and executions that are interesting, unexpected, and that keep people watching. So I think it's a super exciting platform to create for, and therefore it's a really exciting time for people like you and I who have creative in our job titles. And the good news, known advertising principles still drive outcomes. TikTok has simply reimagined what they look like. Brand cues are so important within all ads and paid content, but they need to feel integrated natively within that content. We're in the business of ads, but with a skippable format, we need to create natively for the platform. Having a strong call to action is paramount, but again, it should feel natively integrated in a TikTok way. Also, product demonstrations are extremely effective on platform. And when partnering with creators who align with your product, you're able to leverage their platform and their audience. As I said, creativity is rewarded on platform. TikTok is a creator-led platform, which is very different to every other platform we've ever created for. As I said before, it's 100% skippable, and the audience does expect a high quality of creativity. So we need to be sympathetic to the platform and make sure that our ideas are seen as effective as possible. Brands need to act like creators, but think like marketers. So I don't know if you caught the Who the F Did I Marry series, but this 50-part creator-led series took the platform by storm. The creator was an ordinary person who found virality by sharing her raw and authentic story. She tapped into the popular storytime format, and she planned to share just one part of her story, but as she went on and the series unfolded, it captivated audiences. Fans were going as far to organise watch parties, they were calling for a Netflix documentary, and they were urging brands that the creator Risa Tisa mentioned to partner with her. She won over TikTok with her storytelling, proving that as long as your content is compelling, people will watch. Okay, so briefing and ways in for TikTok. We have created a framework that helps enable you come up with ideas for our platform. And we've identified there's 2 ways in to come up with these ideas. One, either through using TikTok culture. This is where you leverage TikTok trends, creators, formats, and features as the core part of your creative idea. So let's take a look at a local brand who dove headfirst into the platform looking for their audience insights. Gatorade dared TikTok to redefine how Gatorade fuels you forward and build an undeniable relevancy among Gen Z audiences. Before we dive in, let's take a closer look at Gatorade's TikTok history. Gatorade has a comprehensive approach to TikTok, ensuring a distinctive and native presence on platform. As you can see here, Gatorade repurposes brand assets with high production value, but they are meticulously recut for TikTok. These ads are dynamic and engaging and utilize the iconic lightning bolt for seamless transitions, maintaining a constant viewer attention. When we shift to the creator-made content, Gatorade adopts a more lo-fi approach, while remaining brand distinctive with Gatorade product immediately visible in the fridge. This type of content is a genuine collaboration between the brand and creator, ensuring the content feels authentic to the creator's style, while seamlessly integrating the brand into their narrative. And finally, we have a TikTok-first production approach, maybe my favorite. We will discuss this project on the next slide, but this type of initiative is what we thrive on. These projects are rooted in TikTok trends and culture, presenting brand distinctive, platform native experiences that truly unlocks creativity and fun on platform. So how did we help Gatorade win over Gen Z on TikTok? We turned trending activities like a hot girl walk into a competitive sport. So let me introduce the Gatorade Games. Gatorade Games made an unforgettable splash, engaging with the next generation where they are, the For You page. TikTok and Gatorade worked seamlessly with This Is Amplify to bring the creative ideation and production to life. The aim of the campaign was to connect with Gen Z by executing a TikTok-first, creator-led content series with episodes dropping every week. As I said, the approach was to turn trending activities into competitive sports, but we did this with our favorite creators who each represented a different sport on platform. The campaign consisted of high impact, high reach, and cost-effective formats on TikTok, and these formats were strategically chosen for the campaign with the ultimate goal to drive engagement, build and sustain community, as well as encourage consumer intent for Gatorade amongst Gen Z audiences. So to support the media, we actually integrated a lot of organic content between the episodes dropping. So this content really focused on sports entertainment. It featured player profiles, highlight reels, teasers of the upcoming episodes, and recaps with our commentators that were all shot within the same shoot day. Not only did the media deliver incredible results by building an entire sports ecosystem, Gatorade began to build and engage with Gen Z community. And this is the first time the brand has seen this level of engagement on TikTok, with many users saying, "This is the best ad we've ever seen," which means job done. So the next way to approach ideas is where you have an existing creative idea, but you're leveraging TikTok formats to bring it into culture. As Maz mentioned, TikTok is based on an interest graph. People do not come to TikTok to check it, they come to watch it. Entertainment has to be at the heart of all content. And a great example of this was another local brand, Modibody, who created a TikTok-first series starring TikTok creators for their modern period drama, I'm Dying Inside. This idea really showed the versatility and the playfulness of the brand. Let's take a look at the case study now, and then we'll be joined by the creative team from Howitson & Co., Katie and Gavin.
Oh, underwear time.
Oh my god. Okay.
Ew.
Alright, shut up.
To introduce Modibody period underwear to Gen Z, we created a new series built for the platform they love, TikTok. 5 episodes, 4 housemates, all getting their periods at the same time. A taboo-breaking celebration of life today for young menstruators.
I'm free bleeding over here.
Someone heard you were having an endo flare-up and they want to say hi.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to be gay.
With a production value of TV, crafted for 9x16. Featuring an entire Gen Z cast, crew, and writer's room. Original screenplays dripping with Gen Z nuance.
Sapphic. Period.
And original music for each episode. But we couldn't just put the series on Modibody's TikTok channel and expect people to watch it. To make the algorithm work for us and drive views, we collaborated with TikTok to create an entire ecosystem of additional content. Each video tapping into a trend or popular topic. So when Fit Checks trended, we launched our behind-the-scenes version.
My jeans are from Swap, my top is from Swap.
When Come to Work With Me content became the craze, we captured our own on set.
Hi besties, welcome back to yet another vlog.
And it slayed.
Modibody. I am obsessed.
I want to live in a house like this.
Yes! A new quiz series has just hit TikTok.
Qui s'appelle I'm Dying Inside.
Keine Ahnung, ob ihr die schon mal getragen.
Like I'm resonating with every single one of these characters.
Modibody period undies. I love it. I love it.
I'm Dying Inside, a modern period drama that introduced Modibody to a new generation of menstruators.
Okay, first thing I get kind of slapped.
What an awesome case study. Joining me on the couch are the team behind Moddy Bodies campaign. We've got Katie Hulton and Gavin Chines from Houghton & Company. Guys, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure, Smaz.
Awesome. Before we get into it, I thought I'd start off with a couple of warm-up questions. Can you guys tell me what's trending on your For You feed at the moment?
I think probably the biggest thing for me that I've seen in the last couple of weeks is definitely that girl who went viral for looking for a man in finance. It's just crazy. It's everywhere, and it's been so funny to kind of watch how that one little soundbite has just sparked so much creativity on the platform from all these different creators. And yeah, I've seen it like turn up like everywhere. Like they've had it at music festivals, and I think last week my favorite one was there was like a flash mob in London of all these finance bros dancing to the song, which has just been so cool.
How does it go again?
I'm looking for a man in finance.
It's going to be the head tilt as well after. Gav, how about yourself?
I've just had a newborn.
Congratulations.
So I'm deep in baby zone, so I'm getting a lot of parent talk content. My wife put me onto Indy Clinton, who's an influencer. I know you guys know. I just love how real and disheveled and deranged she is. It just really resonates with me at the moment. So that's what's hitting my feed.
I'm still like, I don't know, when I go through my feed, I get a lot of, like I mentioned earlier, I love my sports, so I get a lot of that. But ASMR is still around. Like, it's just like, it's great to see how, you know, creators are taking that to the next level. And doing
I love it.
wonderful,
It's
wonderful
so divisive. My boyfriend cannot stand it, and I have to put my headphones on, which is how you obviously should listen to ASMR anyway, but I'm not allowed to have it like turned up. He's like, what is that tapping noise? He can't handle it.
Yeah.
But I love it.
We all know TikTok is the home of trends. How do you guys stay on top of what's trending, especially when you're working on new briefs?
I think obviously being on the platform, number one, looking at it. I mean, for me, it's every day because it's a full-blown addiction. But I think also interacting with different kinds of content is really important, especially when you're sort of like in research stage. Obviously, like the algorithm in your For You page is so personal. So it's always interesting to kind of discover what else is out there. I find that talking to other people as well is really useful and kind of figuring out what's trending on their page. Like I said, it is so personal, so what you're seeing might be completely different to what your friend is seeing or even like your partner. So obviously that's like amazing for research. And then TikTok Trends Hub was, something that was really useful for us as a tool as well, kind of looking at what are the biggest kind of trends, videos, hashtags, not just in Australia, but around the world. So that's super useful as well.
Awesome. Something else I've done in the past is obviously got my personal TikTok account. I've also opened a different one, particularly if I was working on a beauty brief, because obviously I'm not really the person to go through for beauty inspiration or information, but you know, opening a separate account to dive deeper into those specific categories, following relevant creators, and obviously, you know, the more, like you mentioned, the more you search and engage with content, it learns you and it gives you more of that more of that relevant information as well, which is another good. Now, we're here to talk about Moddy Body. Obviously, your recent campaign was a huge success. I'd love to understand a bit more about the campaign, and particularly how you guys came up with the idea and how you guys ended up bringing it to life on TikTok.
So Moddy Body are one of Australia's leading period underwear brands, and they typically have had really, really good engagement with a bit of an older demographic, so maybe 30, 35 plus. But they were struggling. Makes me old. I know. But yeah, they were struggling to connect with Gen Z. So the brief to us was essentially, how do you get menstruators 18 to 25 to consider Moddy Body and sort of purchase their first pair? So the idea was really born from an insight into this demographic that, you know, this period of life there's already so much going on when you're this age. You know, you're leaving school, you're entering the workforce, you might be moving out, you're dealing with, you know, new relationships, exploring sexuality and gender, and, you know, the last thing that you want to be worrying about or stressing about is period leaks. So we really wanted a way to show Moddy Body as that kind of like amazing support to navigate anything that life throws at you. So we created I'm Dying Inside, which was a modern period drama purpose-built for TikTok. about 4 housemates who were all navigating life in their 20s and doing it all on their period. So yeah, it was 5 episodes. Each episode was a different housemate and their storyline, and kind of looking at all different issues related to, you know, what Gen Z are going through. So health issues like endometriosis to, you know, gender and sexuality exploration, to dating, and yeah, kind of finding these really amazing, authentic stories that really resonated with our audience.
By creating these storylines, we were able to show Modibodi products in authentic ways that complemented the storylines. And this was especially important to Gen Z because we know that they reject traditional forms of advertising. And if a brand just shows up too salesy on TikTok, that can actually have an adverse effect on the brand. So we made sure that we could tell these authentic, relatable stories, but seamlessly weave the product into it and showcase its features and functions through that.
So building on that, a question I have is, why did you decide to select TikTok as a medium to launch this in, not a regular TVC, or could be any other channel?
So we knew that we had to talk to Gen Z, and if we were going to do that, we had to go to the platform where they were most consuming media, and it had to be TikTok. We know that around 75% of Gen Z use TikTok as their primary source of news, information, content, entertainment. So it made sense to operate or to create a campaign that worked on that platform. But as I just mentioned, you know, it's not enough for a brand to just suddenly appear on TikTok and say, hey, teenagers, buy this. You have to show up in a way that resonates and a way that adds value to the platform and their feeds. And that's when, you know, luckily we have a great relationship with you guys, and you helped us identify how we can craft a deeper level of storytelling on the platform and engage the right creators and stars and writers and crew to build a series that showcase Modibodi as an essential part of being Gen Z, but not in a way that felt like typical advertising. At the same time, as we got this brief, we had been noticing a trend of that increasingly TikTok wasn't just being used for native content. It was more and more people were using it as a source of high-level entertainment. So there were shows on TV that they were watching in bite-sized chunks on the platform. And our thinking was, well, what if we could bring the production value of TV and make it for the platform 9:16 and actually create a TikTok-first series that, you know, took all the best things of the platform and allowed us to speak to an audience in a fresh way.
Yeah. I mean, I love how you didn't just talk the talk, you actually walk the walk, right? I mean, even assembling the cast, not just on-screen talent, but the wider kind of production crew and cast. Can you talk a little bit about what was, you know, the strategy behind all that?
For us, authenticity was always key. As you can tell, I'm not Gen Z, and nor am I a menstruator. So it was a real exercise in it's true. It was a real exercise in stepping back and listening and engaging the right partners. And of course, Katie and her partner Ellie, they were so in tune with both the issues that young menstruators were facing, but also TikTok itself. The first step we did in terms of making this was engaging the right production partner. And that's where our wonderful friends at Finch came into play.
Yeah, it was a really interesting process. I think we obviously approached it as TV for TikTok. We really wanted it to have that production value, and that came into like everything that we did. But a bigger part of it was that authenticity coming through. So when we were casting it, we actually got our cast to send in their real period stories. And it was amazing. It was like hilarious. It was empowering. It was moving. And those storylines actually, formed the basis of their own character's journey and their episodes. So in that way, really had those kind of real stories coming through and forming what essentially became the series. And it was super collaborative from the very beginning. So we obviously worked really closely with Finch, we worked closely with the guys at TikTok, and just kind of made sure that everything that we were doing was, you know, weaving in very real trends and Gen Z dialogue and the things and interests that they were already resonating with on the platform, to kind of create this series that that felt like them.
What I was really impressed by was not just the high quality, high value production nature, but also the high volume. I mean, supporting the 5 episodes, you guys had upwards like 50 pieces of content, which kept everyone hooked. And I know, like, just like a TV show, you know, where you tune in once a week, people are waiting for the next drop and asking for more. Can you talk a bit about the strategy behind your overall content ecosystem?
That orchestration was such a big part of actually making sure that as a brand, we weren't just going to create content, put it up and expect people to watch it. We knew that, you know, to kind of get that interest, we had to talk to different communities on TikTok. We had to kind of create content that they, you know, were looking for. So yeah, off the back of every episode, we followed it up with organic behind the scenes content that tapped into different trends, different topics of interest, that we shot all on the same day. And yeah, it was amazing. It was using our cast and crew to kind of do fit checks and come to work with me videos, and yeah, essentially just looked at some of the biggest trends, obviously on Trends Hub, looking at those communities and seeing how that related to what the stories that we were trying to tell.
Awesome. A lot of the content we see on TikTok is quite lo-fi, shot on an iPhone, for example. But you guys are going the opposite way. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think that was definitely a extremely conscious decision. We knew that obviously creators have got that lo-fi content on lock, and Modibodi themselves actually already have a really amazing TikTok strategy. So I think the goal for us was to stand out on people's For You pages with something that felt new and exciting, and yeah, really captured that essence of TV and what the shows that Gen Z already know and love. And so we kind of, yeah, approached it like that, but at the same time, obviously had to stay true to the unique nature of TikTok. So everything was shot in 9:16. We created episodes and story openings that sort of hooked attention within seconds. And we also wove so many different things into the storylines and all the supporting content that supported all of the other kind of things that Gen Z are interacting with on the platform. So from set design, art direction, wardrobe, everything was thrifted. Music, original music for each episode that kind of tapped into those genres that Gen Z love. So it was all a conscious kind of decision, obviously, to harness that algorithm and sort of make it work in our favour so people would come and watch the actual episodes. It
sounds like a bit of a jigsaw puzzle, right? I mean, there's like, you had a shoot day, but you got so much out of it by just through sheer planning, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely, it was a monster.
We shot the entire thing in 2 days on one location.
Yeah.
That included 5 2 to 3 minute episodes, plus 50 or 60 pieces of additional content
and stills on top
of
that.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, it was a wild ride, but everyone was in on the journey. The client, production, agency. It was one of those magic projects where things just clicked.
It's amazing when that happens. Can you tell me a little bit more about the writers' room session and how you approach it?
Yeah, it was super collaborative. As I kind of mentioned, we had the vision to sort of cast first and craft our storylines from the casting to make it feel really real and authentic. So we basically, in that room, sort of looked at who we wanted these characters to be and the kind of issues and stories that we wanted to tell, and sort of mapped out their entire arc over each of their episodes. And that was a journey that everyone was involved in. So our director, Arundhati, we had Modibodi's input, obviously working with you guys at TikTok. Everyone kind of came together to sort of create these original screenplays that, you know, felt true to both TV and to TikTok. So yeah, it was really special.
What would you say to anyone who thinks it's hard to create a TikTok campaign?
I think obviously you don't know until you try it. I think just getting out there, getting behind the camera and shooting stuff, I think a lot of it comes down to, yeah, testing and learning. I know a lot of, you know, things aren't going to get picked up immediately, which is obviously why we built the content ecosystem to make sure that we were sort of driving people at every touch point to come and watch the series. And as Gav mentioned, it all starts with the idea. So kind of, you know, planning carefully around that and making sure that you're making the idea the best it can possibly be for your audience. I think that's probably, yeah, biggest piece of advice.
I think creatively it's incredibly exciting to rethink the rules of production and do something different. You know, we were able to write long form screenplays. We were able to, you know, cast a huge range of talent, shoot over multiple days, compose original tracks. You know, what, you know, would be significantly more expensive as a 30-second TV ad. You know, we were able to create something so fresh and original. And I think if you're up for the challenge of doing something new, I highly recommend trying a TikTok campaign. It's incredibly liberating to take off the shackles of our traditional advertising, you know, methods or production approaches. And yeah, hopefully this is just the start of what we are beginning to see on TikTok. I think there's a world of untapped creative potential, and I can't wait to see what other brands and brilliant creatives do.
So before we go, what's the one piece of advice you can pass on to any brands or creatives who are looking to embark on their TikTok journey? Look,
though TikTok is a relatively new platform, the same rules of creativity still need to apply. You need to start with an idea, you know, that vital concept that solves a business problem or reaches an audience in the right way. You need craft and storytelling. You need that perfect execution. But just because you have a brilliant idea that's brilliantly crafted doesn't guarantee people are going to see it. So one thing we talk about a lot at Houghton & Company is orchestration. And that means thinking about how an idea reaches the right audience at the right time and the right channel. And for us, it means we open the aperture of a project beyond just the creative department, and we pull in media smarts and PR disciplines, strategy and tech. And it lets us really think about how we sequence a brilliantly crafted idea. For the case of Modibodi, it meant, you know, thinking about who are the right influencers we need to hit. How can we create a above-the-line media campaign to support the TikTok ecosystem, you know, driving people to watch the show even more. You know, for us, it's this three-pronged approach to creativity: idea, craft, and orchestration. It's how we think about approaching work for many of our clients, but for a TikTok-related campaign in particular, it's really relevant.
It's something that we've spoken about at length, but I think the authenticity is obviously key as well. Like, you want to connect with your audience in a real way, especially as a brand. It doesn't feel like, you know, we're selling them something in a way that I guess a traditional kind of channel would. And I think for us, like, what's become really clear throughout, you know, this journey and also with the approach at Houghton is just that, like, collaboration coming together to kind of, you know, get all those sort of different perspectives and making sure that you're working with the people that, you know, are experts in their different areas, whether that be, you know, partners at TikTok or creators themselves. I think, you know, working with the people that know their audience, know the platform, and kind of, yeah, trusting them to sort of also know what works and what will resonate with their audience, I think is really important.
I agree. I think trusting the process and getting everyone together early is so important. That's certainly helped. Katie, Gavin, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate you guys coming in, and look forward to working with you on the next campaign.
Thanks, Matt.
Sounds good, mate.
All right, that's all the time we have for today. But before we go, Katie, do you want to take it away with a rendition of your favourite trend?
I'm looking for a man in finance, trust fund, 6'5", blue eyes, finance, trust fund.
We can remix that.
Cut.
Please scan the QR code to complete a short survey and go in the draw to win a free writer's room session with our brand and creative consultancy team.